The Arty 84 Show.
All right, what's going on, everybody? It's the Arty 84 Show live. It is the Friday edition. We're a little bit late, mostly because I was wearing a green shirt, and if you notice, you wouldn't notice because you wouldn't be able to see from the screen. I have a green screen behind me, and when I started to get the show going, I did not put two and two together. And of course, I was starting to pixelate out, and I was just a floating head. And no one else wants to see just a floating head. You want to see the whole body. And that's part of the experience here in the Odd 84 show. So instead of going all the way up to the bedroom to find a new shirt, I found this Fisher Cat jersey that I got for free at a Fisher Cat game up in New Hampshire. And I said, hey, why the hell not? But it is the Friday edition. It's the happy hour. Hope everyone's having a great day. Hope everyone had a great week. The weekend is finally here. We can now enjoy, relax, and celebrate 2 days off. Hopefully, you have 2 days off. If you don't, then hopefully you get 2 days off somewhere between now and then. So that'll be great, right? This is episode 248. A big sip right there. If you're asking me why I have a giant 24-ounce pitcher glass, big giant mug, it is precisely because I thought I could have had another beer last night. I opened another beer. This is what I do every single night almost. I then open said beer. I take one sip, and that is it. And I fall asleep. So I had a perfectly good beer sitting there in the morning. So I opted to refrigerate it. And if you mend it with another beer, perhaps it won't taste as flat as it would if you just drank it all naturally. So that was the idea. And yes, it is less flat. It does have a little bit of flatness to it, but I'm just drinking good old Sam Adams, which probably was tainted a bit anyways because it was they're in cans and they were in the back of my Jeep, boiling for a period of time. And then I think I bought them cold. They went to boiling temperature, and now they're cold again. So it is what it is. Beer is beer, right? So has a lot happened this week. I'm trying to think. Fridays usually is a nice week to come together and evaluate the week and talk about what's going on. Very uneventful week for myself. I just did the whole working thing, I guess, and not much going on. In fact, actually, tomorrow we are going to the Patriots. Patriots practice, Patriots training camp. I've never been to a Patriots training camp before. Allegedly, they're free. And so that starts tomorrow at 11 o'clock. So I will be hightailing it down to Foxborough to get in with the kids. We're going to check it out, see what's going on down there. I'm going to professionally evaluate prospects of the New England Patriots, and I'll write them an email and I'll give them my 2 cents and see if they dig it or not. But I mean, other than that, that's about the extent of what I'll be doing tomorrow. So we see. So we might be doing something tomorrow night. I'm not sure. It's been a very tiring week. Fridays usually at this point I'm exhausted, and I usually have a little more energy on a Friday, but I am the only one in my department in the office today during the day. So I was forced upon to do the work of two, while my coworker, you may know him as Adam the Mallet from prior episodes and from the Gals Nest podcast, which dropped Wednesday, this week's episode. And the Gals, by the way, are in the playoffs. They won their first game last night. They have game 2 tonight. If they win tonight, they move on to the next round. If they lose, they play on Saturday, which is exciting. So yes, so he's at Metallica tonight. And you know what? Hey, rock on. I told him it would be very ironic if Metallica decided to pull a what was his name? The guy from Sting. I know, I guess his name's Sting, the guy from the police, I was gonna say. Pull a Sting and be like, listen, guys, today we're gonna instead of playing the hits, we're gonna play songs, we're gonna interpret songs in a different way. And we have this experimental album we're working on, and we're gonna be playing just pure experimental songs that have nothing to do with the thrash metal and the history of Metallica. So um, that would be very ironic and very funny. And I don't know why I'm wearing my headphones because I have no guests today, so I don't have to wear them because I can get the feedback from the speaker over there. So, and they're hurting my ear for no reason. It's like 900 degrees outside. I thought it was gonna rain. It was humid and hot all day today in the 90s. I opt not to bring the mobile desk outside because the mobile desk is still under uh, repairs, if you will. The wheels situation has not been fixed. I think I told you guys last week I went to the depot of the home variety, got some wood with the intentions to reconstruct a frame for underneath this mobile desk. I then took said wood and used it to build Studio B down the basement. If you're not familiar, this house has 3 studios. We got the main studio, which we're in right now, with the ability to have guests to sit in here if they like. We also have Studio B, which is in the basement, and we do 2 other podcasts, 2 other channels down there. We do the baseball, we do the Lego podcast, and we do the new channel we opened up. It's part of the Masswell Sports Network called Behind Bars. It's a industry type program talking about bartending, talking about what it likes to work in the industry, the ins and outs, and all that good stuff. So we moved that studio down the basement, Studio B. And then we have Studio M, which is the mobile studio, which sometimes we see this program. We are outside on the deck. And that also has the capability of being mobilized as well, to a sense where we could take it anywhere we want. We could broadcast on the moon if we really wanted to. So as long as we have an internet connection, we can pretty much broadcast anywhere now with the modern technology. Years ago when we started the show, I remember we used this thing called I believe it was livestream.net. And I think that was called livestream.com or something like that. It was a program where we could go and you hook the camera up. So we had this old digital camera that used one of those giant, wasn't a USB, but it was like, I don't even know what it was called. It was like this giant square that had a point to it. It looked like a giant USB with a triangle at the end of it. Plug, like a media plugged into your Mac. And I had it directly off an old camcorder. And we set that thing up at our old studios at the Cyberstation USA down in Quincy, the station in which we found out that the owner was a diddler. And that was interesting. He, I don't think I ever told us that. I think we might have told the story years ago, but yeah, down there actually I'll tell that story. That's an interesting story. We were down there and we'd set the camera up on this live stream site. And at the time, like no one was streaming stuff. No one knew about YouTube is relatively at this point fairly new, I think. This was 2008. So YouTube probably has only been around for a couple of years. One of the biggest mistakes and one of the huge thing we didn't capitalize on when we started the show, 20 years ago, was the YouTube whole situation. I think we could have probably done a lot better if we capitalized on it, but we just never. I don't know if we never figured it out. I just didn't think it was any use for it. Now I look back on all these people who make all this money on YouTube, and they were basically in the same situation as I was, and they're doing pretty good. I just think we missed an opportunity on recording these shows. I think my biggest problem was I was too concerned about this show being live. Okay. And we had the live chat on too. If you guys are watching live on Facebook, I was too concerned about the show being live than to actually have quality of it being recorded. And I figured since we had the audio being recorded anyways, that the video was never going to really do much. And at the time, video wasn't even that good. I mean, even a good digital camera still was pretty pixelated. I mean, we didn't have there were cameras on. I think on my iPhone in 2008, and I gotta tell you, it was kind of like it was subpar. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything great. You know what I mean? Um, but now when you think about it, we really should spend more time on video the show and archiving that way. And we didn't even do that until we were kind of forced to do it, to be honest with you. It was back in 2000. God, when was it? That'd be 2017. We were there for a little while. Yeah, we kind of, it's around like March of 17. We were broadcasting at the old station in Cambridge, and it was costing us like I was like it was like it's like $50 a week or something like that to use for an hour or something, and I feel like it was even more than that too. And we'd have to come up with the money every week to do the show, and we weren't really getting anything out of it other than use of a studio. And that was at WMF. And, don't get me wrong, it was a great place. And if you didn't have the ability to broadcast or anything, but um, they were broadcasting live, like the audio was going live. But when you ran the numbers, the amount of people that listened to the show were mostly listened to in the podcast form after the fact and on demand type stuff. So it really didn't matter if they were listening live. And we really didn't look at that big picture. And that's something we really should have thought about, but we didn't. And we weren't videotaping at all. That would have been we brought the camera in a couple days. We tried videotaping some of the stuff. I just couldn't get my mind wrapped around. Like I said, what the video quality would be used for, right? Like what would we use it for? Like, well, who would be watching the show when you could listen to realizing that the visual is way more of a thing than basically the audio, right? I mean, seeing stuff, and if you, especially when you have musical guests on and stuff, we could have easily made it work. And, even if a single shot camera, when we had the musical guests on, we could have just turned the camera on them. We could have changed it a few different ways. We could even film two shots. We could have sunk it together and just did some post production afterwards, but we just didn't think about it, and really didn't. I didn't have the technology back then or the know how to even start a project like that. But it is what it is. We worked it out. When we decided to leave, um, WEMF just because we just didn't want to pay the fee anymore. And I had the ability just to build a studio in my apartment, and which basically I did. And it was simplistic. It was a microphone, a mixer board. We were able to use Facebook Live, which we still use to this day, to broadcast. And we could use YouTube. I think we have a bigger followership on Facebook for a live broadcast. I think with YouTube, we do a lot better with our pre-recorded stuff, like post after the show, because I think it stretches to a little bit more of an audience. Plus, we use the shorts to split the show a lot, so it gives you a little bit more of a sample size. And we do pretty good on those hits. So we started videotaping because we were going to, all right, if we can't broadcast the audio, at least we broadcast the visual. So if you go back to the Arty 84 show, starting around, I think it was episode probably 50, maybe, but even sooner than that, maybe in the 20s, maybe 30 something, maybe 35, you'll start seeing videos. So if you're on the YouTube page and you go back, it just starts like at 30, right? And none of the Arty and Eric shows where we had any video. We have like clips that we took during the show, but we should have digressed more into the video aspect of broadcasting, which we really didn't. And I think it was a missed opportunity because I think by now we would have had a pretty good solid base on YouTube rather than competing with everyone, their brother, who jumped on board afterwards. The podcasting we were ahead of. We were doing that, not using like iTunes or anything, but just using our own server since 2005. But we just didn't really know how to get it on iTunes. We learned as we went on. It was a commitment to price. You have to pay to get an RSS number, which is all part of the game, I guess. You know what I mean? It all depends on how much you want to spend on your hobby, I guess, right? And so on and so forth. But back in the day, when back to touch on Cyberstation and the Diddlers, and I don't even know if Cyberstation USA even exists anymore, but we found this ad on Craigslist. And basically what happened was we were broadcasting at at my college, right? They would let me do an alumni show after the fact. And the show started getting a little too crazy, I guess you could say, for the school. We didn't really, we were kind of being kept back, if you were, right? So this is like into the summertime, right? Summer of '08 into the fall of '09, right? I mean, the fall of '08, right? So at fall of '08, we're, doing our thing. And into '09 as well. We did a little in '09. Then we stopped for a little while. And I found this ad, and I remember it was around October of 2009. And the guy's like, oh, come in. We're down in Quincy. Come check us out. They're having like a little get together, like what do they call that? When you go when you go to school and you get yourself used to everything. You know what I'm talking about. If you know the word, you know what I'm saying. Come down, check it out. We're gonna have it's a little tell you a little about the station, all that stuff. and yeah, and all that. So we go down. So me and Eric go down on a Saturday morning, right? And we go into this place. It's like it's at a good location too. It has a big glass window with a studio behind it, and it had like the little hall. It had like the little entryway. There was a desk, right? That can set we call it the not the secretary, but a greeter was there. Someone who worked there, right? We just basically said, "Hey, how you doing?" And it was like a little waiting room, basically. It was getting Laz that worked there too. I remember Laz was his name. He had glasses, tall, kind of goofy. And there was a room in the back and orientation. That's what I'm thinking about. They took us all back in for the orientation. So it was probably about 10 of us. So it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. I went down, Eric drove, and we go in, the guy's giving us whole hype about the station, these two guys, and they're talking about this this show that's on live in the morning, and they're hyping it up a little bit. Little did we know, the guys that were hyping the show up were guys in the show, right? This was their show. They was hyping up like something else. And we're like, yeah, whatever. We're like, this is fine, everything. And I think it was like only like 20, $25 maybe a week to do the show, which wasn't bad. We did a half hour. So we get into everything, and they're like, all right, yeah, come in on Thursday nights to record. So we're assuming that it's gonna be live on Thursday nights, right? So we get in there like, no, we record all our shows. So we're gonna record it on Thursday, but we're gonna play it back on Fridays at noon, right? All right, no big deal. So we go in, we do the first show and everything like that. And this is when we learned about chat roulette. I don't know if you guys remember chat roulette, but we hooked up a camera and we were using that live stream program to kind of like somewhat broadcast the show live and using chat roulette to talk to people. So when people would swipe on us, it'd be two guys, the microphone. It was elaborate. It would take me a while to set this shit up because I had to get the computer going, and then I had a little internet card thingy, and then we had the camera, a tripod. It was a lot. Nowadays, it's so much easier. I could do it with a laptop with like a little webcam, right, and some Bluetooth mic and stuff. Oh yeah, then we had to pipe the audio in from the board, so there was an auxiliary cord going from the board. So we had to make sure the mix was right going in, and it wasn't overmodulated. It was a hell of a process. But we did meet some people on chat roulette that became friends with. Some people actually, a couple girls that I ended up hanging out with later on as time went on. And that's another story for another day. But so we were doing that for a little while. It was fine. And then we did it for like 7 or 8 weeks. And the place was getting sketchy. They promise you the world when you do something like this. They're like, we're gonna do you know, we're gonna advertise for you, that, and then they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna do this and that, and then at the end of the day, it comes out and it's like they don't do anything for you, right? They were forgetting to broadcast a show. I mean, there was some weeks we couldn't meet. No, it was a perfect idea. So Thursday nights were great, right? So I didn't work Thursday nights. I worked during the day. I would come home and I would jump on the bus from my parents. I was still in my parents' house. Jump on the bus, take it into Boston, jump on the train, take the train all the way down to Braintree. Now, the reason I took the train down, it was to Quincy rather, and the reason I did is because I figured, I'm going to be out. It's my night out. Maybe I'll have a few pops. I don't want to drive all the way back from Quincy. Plus, I didn't want to sit in that traffic at 6 o'clock on a Thursday. Forget about it. That's like the worst traffic ever, right? So I take the train down, beat all the traffic. The train station was right like a block or two away from the station, so it was perfect. Then I'd meet Eric down there. He typically would drive. I would get there. I literally had nothing to do on Thursday, so I got home from. I was working part time at the mall. I got home like around 3 o'clock. I would just go hit the town, and then it was this little bar called there's two bars we used to go to, and one was called the Commonwealth, and we went to that the day that we went to orientation. Afterwards, we went to Commonwealth for a couple of beers to kind of situate ourselves. And then Eric's car broke down that day. We had to get jumped and towed, and he had to go to work because it was an Odell situation. It was ridiculous. We had he had a van, like a little kitty touch of van with with the windows and stuff that were all tinted out and had a bed in the back. It smelled like sex and hockey equipment, and the battery had died. We had to call AAA, so we went back to the Commonwealth, had a few beers, we were hanging there. So then every other week after that, he would drive down because he was coming from somewhere else, and I was like, yeah, I'll take the train. I had some time to kill. He either working or something like that. So and then I'd take a ride back up with him. And then so I would meet at stadium beforehand, and I would get my chicken fingers. We'd have a few beers, get nice, loosen up a little bit, like we usually do before we get on the air, and then go to the studio and broadcast. We did that for 7, 8 weeks. It was a great time. We'd drive back. So Thursday night, we'd head back up to the bar that we were working at, and we had the night off. We'd hang out there, have a few more drinks, and this is before Ubers or anything like that. So I'd catch a ride home with someone, going one way or another. we did this for like 6 months. It was great. It was my Thursday. I look forward to Thursday nights every night because we get to go on the radio for a little while, got to hang out, got to drink, got to do this, that, and the other thing, right? It was awesome. So then we started doing it, and like I said, as we were there, they were promising the stuff, and they weren't broadcasting a show. We were kind of under like a strict restriction for everything, and we're like, what the hell is this? This is ridiculous. So we had a friend of a friend who was kind of in the radio business for like terrestrial radio. She worked as like a marketing or something like that. So my Eric was more friendly with her than I was, and they were striking up a conversation one day about what we were doing and who was running the place. And the girl quickly told us, "Oh yeah, that guy is a diddler. Um, he was allegedly running a camp in like Vermont or New Hampshire, and he got in trouble for selling pictures of young boys in like their underwear or something like that on the internet. This is like when internet was like new. This is like 2000, newer, I should say, like 2005, 2004, right? Enough years that went by that I could count on a hand. And allegedly, because he was doing this, he got caught and got in trouble. But I guess his family had a good pull up wherever it was. I can't remember if it was New Hampshire, it was Maine, it was somewhere up there, somewhere north of Massachusetts. Had pull with like legislation and or officers or county police or I don't know, where he was able to get like off from the charges or something like that. It was really bizarre. It was a bizarre situation about it. And she told the story there, and I go, I don't believe it. He goes, Google it. So we Google it. We Google the guy's name. I'm not gonna say the name or anything. I don't even know where he is these days. Who knows? I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't even remember his name. I'm gonna be 100% honest. Don't even remember his name. But he's like, yeah. He's like, Google it. Let me read it. So we found these articles. The only reason we found the article was nothing on mainstream media. The article was only found because it was on a case study done by a local school or something on investigating something that happened, and it was like a kind of like a pre-law, you know, entry basically at the end of the day, right? So we start fucking reading it, right? This thing gets friggin' intense. So I remember where we were reading it. We were sitting at the stadium, right before the show. It was so we went. I think we went on around 6 o'clock. We went to record, so 7 o'clock. I think it was 7 o'clock. So this is probably around like 5:30, right? And I'm like 3 or 4 beers in at this point, right? We take some shots. That was a big thing about the Arty and Eric show. We did a lot of drinking. We made our night basically the show. So we would go meet someone prior to the show, have drinks. When we were in, you know, on regular radio, it was over near Chinatown and the financial area. So there was like a couple bars we went to. There's one bar that had this really cool. I think it's closed now too. Like all these bars are closed. But I had like a live tree bar top to it, and we'd go there for some drinks afterwards, and then we'd just hit up like it was a night. We had the whole night of it. Thursday nights was our night. We did from 5 o'clock till 2 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes we were out to 2 o'clock in the morning just drinking and having a good time. We never, I mean, we did. And even when I just started working at 9 to 5, like being out to 2 and getting up at 7 was really a big deal when I was in my early 20s, right? Now at 40, it's a little bit of a little more of an adventure, I guess you could say. But that's to digress. So we're sitting at the stadium and we're looking up the information on this fella. And I'm reading, I go, dude, is this for real? I go, this is the guy we're doing a show for? This is what we're broadcasting? And he's like, yeah. He's like, this is what we're doing. This is the guy. And let me make sure we're recording this episode here. Here we go. I got the mouse upside down here. Well, not to leave you with a cliffhanger here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so we're there, yada yada yada, and so we go in. So we're already pissed off about the things they promised us that they didn't give us. The lack of getting us on a regular schedule. Like it would always be like, I think they were putting us on Mondays, right? It was Monday at noon. That's what it was. So it was a couple days later, and like we'd listen in and we tell everyone, log in, you can listen to the show and all that stuff. And you can hear these episodes. You can go back if you go on, just go to iTunes, type in the ID84 show or actually the ID and Eric show. It's like the early episodes, like episode 1, 2, 3. I think it's first 6, 7 episodes, right? Listen to that. That's us up at Cyber Station. That's us broadcasting live from that station. They're half-hour shows, quick listens. They're really good. That's where we were a little edgier because we weren't really thinking much. We were just kind of saying shit, and probably should have been a little bit easier. We weren't really hiding stuff. Probably another reason they didn't like us very much on the network too. And then, so we get in there and we're about to do the show. and the guy starts like saying something. One of the guys there, he was a nice guy, and I snapped at him. I don't know why I said this wasn't the didler guy. This was another guy who was just working there. He said something about the quality of like advertisements we had recorded or something like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, we used your equipment, blah, blah, blah. He started going off on something. So I lost it. I go, you know what? Let's go, Eric. We're not even doing a show here. We're done. And we stormed. The guy's like, what? I'm like, nope, we're not even doing it. So we left. That was the last of it. We never seen him again. Never heard from him again. And 6 months later, I drove by the studio, and it was an Asian massage parlor. So it didn't stick around, but I think the station still exists. I feel like I Googled it a year ago, but I remember when I was first on the station, we went to the radio station's website and it unleashed a Trojan virus, and one of the guys we know's whole entire office it shut down all their computers. Like this virus came in there and literally took over the computer, and like so it was from the website because he goes, I daily remember going to the website. This box popped up. It said click here to listen, and when he did, it released like a Trojan. So he might have typed the website in incorrectly, but needless to say, it was pretty bad. So that is that story. That was the last we heard of him. So that forced us to do our show live. So then I built I was still with my parents. I built like a mini studio in my basement of my parents' house. And the idea was to broadcast. This is before Facebook or anything. So it was like livestream.net or whatever we were using, and then record episodes doing that way. And that worked for a little while, but then we just kind of got bored, and that's when we ended up finding we call it on regular radio over the summer, and that seemed to be a better choice. We started there. And that studio was, a lot of people smoking pot. It smelled like weed. It was 1,000 degrees in the wintertime. It was about 20 degrees in the summer, and 1,000 degrees in the summertime, and about 20 degrees in the wintertime. And they did a good job running the place. The guy John that ran the place was a good guy. And then we met a lot of good friends over there over the years. And you know, we had a lot of guests on. That's when we met a lot of some of the people we did shows with. We like when I was after the Arty and Eric show took a break, we did the Adult Entertainment Radio show for about a year or two, and we had Brianna and JR as our co-hosts on the show and everything, and they were friends with a lot of comics. That's where I met a lot of comics. We brought a lot of people in. We had a magician on one day. We had this guy with a ventriloquist with an elf. I mean, we had a lot of things. So, I mean, over the years, and like I said, you can listen to all these shows. The sad part is we only have still pictures. We have no video, and this was a prime opportunity. We would have had hours and hours and hours of video, days of video, right? And so I suggest anyone who's getting into this videotape, doesn't matter. Just record it, even if you record it off your phone. I mean, if the phone these days, we record on Studio B, our primary camera is one of the phones. And I tell you, the quality is way better than ever was. It's probably better than this camera right here. This camera is probably about 10 years old. I got this camera in 2014. It still does the job, but its rate is not, it's not 60 pictures per second. You know what I mean? Like these new cameras are. It's probably closer to 30 or something. But nevertheless, that was the evolution of the Arty 4. I don't even know how we got onto it, but I think we started talking about the kitty toucher, and then it was all downhill from there. So that was it. That's how we got started. Now we got 3 studios in the house, and this is how we do the show now. Remember, every Monday and Friday, we do the Arty 84 show around 4:30, 5 o'clock for a half hour. And you can watch it on Facebook Live. You could listen to it on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, any of those sites, or you can watch it on YouTube and watch it there. And then, of course, if you subscribe to us on TikTok and everything, you get clips of the show. So that's where you can find us all. Just type in Arty 84. You'll be able to find more than enough information to get you where you need to go. So. But yeah, anyone who's starting on this, record everything. Just record it, because you never know when you're going to use the video. And if you didn't have the video, you're going to regret not having the video. You know what I mean? So I'll leave it at that. We're about a half hour mark for this show right now. We'll be on Monday. There is a couple days that we're away in the late August for our usual trip. But because that I figured out how to use this new mobile station, we will be broadcasting from away. So there will be at least a Friday, Monday, Friday. There will be at least 3 episodes that we'll be doing from remote. So that'll be fun. So let's when as that gets sooner, we'll talk about it. But for the time being, that's what we're gonna be doing. But for now, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. And yeah, and it's that. Have a good weekend. We'll see you guys Monday. Enjoy yourselves. Now the audience is here. Here you go. Hello, guys. You say hi. There you go. The audience is here. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next Monday. 3 days. 2 days. What day is it? Friday? 2 days. So, and we'll talk about the Patriots camp and anything that happened this weekend. So see you guys later. Thank you guys. Have a good weekend. Bye.
The Arty 84 Show.